Hi, this evening I'm going to do my 11th presentation on the deep state. I had originally intended on doing it on the my brother's alma mater in London, Hill House School. That's also where King Charles went to school. However, there was an email that came in from the new headmistress of Foxcroft. So before getting into the boys' schools, because after Hill House, I'm going to be doing Woodbury Forest in Virginia, which is also where my brother went, and which is, how do I say, the brother school of Foxcroft. They do dances and things. Um, so anyway, yeah, these are my previous videos. Like I say, I'm on the 11th. My first ones, I really go into the ideologies and many of the issues that come up. And in the past, so on the 8th one, I did Foxcroft, and that looks at the robber barons, because Foxcroft has always been known as a school of the robber baron heiresses. So that looked at the Mellon family and the Mars family, and Tim Mellon. So, well, the Mellon family, how these families, they exploit their workers. They have predatory bankruptcy building companies, and then they ease their conscience with this philanthropic organizations, which are promoting the woke, is the gives to all the liberals and the humanitarian, or excuse me, the humanities, arts and educational opportunities for the poor. But it's just educational opportunities for a couple of the poor, and the upper crust systems and our public education systems are shit and getting worse and worse. So the only thing accomplished is you get a couple of minorities that have been given opportunity into the elitist systems, and they've gone into power and gotten worse than, oh my goodness, than the whites that they're replacing. Because I mean, this was a white country. It was settled by the English. I'll be getting into that, I think, in the next with King Charles. I have some maps about that. I mean, you know, South America, even below Central America, with the Spaniards. I mean, the funny thing in the United States, particularly, is you go to Latin America. I mean, when we were in Bogota, it used to crack me up because the Spaniards would get so angry that all that the Latinos, the South Americans, could talk about is how all of their problems were the fault of the conquistadors. And I was like, okay, yeah, just like with the Americans, a lot of our problems date back to the colonial period and the oppression and those issues. But there does come a time when you have to stop blaming everybody and say, okay, we're going to assume that we have, some part in what's going on here. And I'm going to show that later on. I mean, I lived in Colombia, so the Colombian Spanish connection, we'll be going into that in great detail. And the Latinos in this country particularly, they gotta stop blaming it, just like all of the minorities, whether it be the Asians don't say much. I think they're kind of like, oh, nobody, everybody's forgotten about us. If you look, the Asians are actually the ones who are the highest educated, the best paid. I think they're like, oh, they're squabbling with the Latinos, and and the blacks. So let's just stay over here and hope they don't notice us. I mean, Rome fell. I started my research. It was like Rome fell because it was, and Greece as well, because it was ruled and cabals and factions. Like, yeah, that's where we are today. So here we go. This was the video. And I do feel sorry for Dr. Kaenzig, I think it is. Kaenzig. Because I imagine she has no idea about what my beef and my history with Foxcroft, because I will get it got into in the previous, so that would have been, let's see, the eighth presentation. And that does get into when I saw the courageous conversation. Foxcroft was having a courageous conversation, and I said, "Oh, I'd like to participate," only to be told, "No, that's reserved for the Black success stories." It's a little bit more complicated. We'll review that at the end. I did go into that in the eighth presentation. So anyway, she has, I guess, little, well, unless she Googled and did some research. I did send an invite to her on LinkedIn, which she accepted. So I also, as transparency, I will be sending this to her and say, I hope you do look at my videos and my research, because I am going to see Foxcroft in court, the trustees, because I'm sorry, the educational systems. I mean, even Jordan Peterson was the one who pointed this out. And I was like, yeah, Jordan Peterson, I agree with you now. Like, can we do something about it? See, everybody wants to, the podcasters, they're just like the journalists, just like everybody else, policymakers, all of the think tanks, everybody, they want to discuss the problems and they want to complain about it, but nobody wants to do anything. So anyway, here is the video that she sent.
I'm Dr. Lisa Kaenzig, and I am honored to join the community as Foxcroft's 11th head of school. What a joy it is for me to join the community at Foxcroft, to live on this campus of extraordinary beauty, and to continue the work of the 10 devoted heads who have led this school for more than a century. From the earliest years of my career, working to advance the role of women in politics, to my 14 years serving as a dean of first-year college women, and later as the dean of a women's college, I have always been fully devoted to the advancement of girls and young women. As a college dean, it was an honor to share the important transition.
Now, I just want to stop a second. The advancement of girls and women. See, these are all code words, advancement or opportunities for professional women, advancement for women and girls, as long as it's professional advancement. No concern about what this is doing to women as a group, to society. No, just advance them in commerce and politics. And what's happening to our children? What's happening to our families? Nobody's even considering this.
Experience from high school to college with thousands of young women.
Nor the fact that many women, they want families, they want children. Not all women are the Capote swans and Queen Victoria, and apparently Queen Elizabeth, who children should be seen and not heard. My favorite with the French. The one French, I said, oh, the French, you guys are like the British. They said, no. With the British, children should not be seen. They should be seen but not heard. With the French, they should not be seen or her. And I laughed at that one. I said, yeah, that's...
And their families. While doing that work I loved, I also dreamed about how special it would be to work with high school girls, to prepare and guide them in advance of their transition to college. For over a century, Foxcroft has given the world great women who have lived lives of impact and meaning. The Foxcroft of today reflects modern teaching pedagogy.
Well, that has produced great women with lives of meaning and purpose is a matter of opinion.
Mastery learning, an emphasis on STEAM, and an innovative curriculum built around how girls learn best.
Emphasis on STEAM. I keep on saying, would you please start teaching some ethics to our students and how to read and write. My Lord, it is of epidemic proportion. Reading, writing, and a bit of common sense. No, you fill their heads with all this crap.
My hope for Foxcroft is to keep dreaming, just like Miss Charlotte did over a century ago. We must remain committed to girls' education to ensure that generations of girls to come can benefit from Miss Charlotte's original vision. Foxcroft is more than a school. It's where girls explore their unique voice and develop the skills, confidence, and courage to share it with the world. That happens in the classroom and also in the dorm, riding ring, during sports, and through our leadership program and long-standing traditions that connect today's students with more than 3,000 alumni. Foxcroft's values of respect, integrity, kindness, and service are as important today as they were more than 100 years ago. The values that we all work to instill.
Yeah, kindness and service. Much kindness, we'll see. Yeah, and no, 3,000 alumni. I mean, one of the reasons I came up with Global Expats, apart from having to come up with a way to provide for my family after my ex-husband destroyed his career as a banker, was because through Foxcroft and Cobham Hall, yeah, I know a lot of ruling elite, but I've been canceled because I, have the audacity to want to clean up Washington and clean up all the corruption in our government. How dare I?
And our girls are exactly those that have guided my own life journey. As a mother to my daughters and to the daughters of so many others, I have had the joy to mentor over the course of my career. There is something magical about the special place that has captivated women and their families for over 111 years. Each morning, as I walk from covert to schoolhouse, I am enchanted by the beauty of our campus. And I can feel Miss Charlotte's spirit still with us as she imagined a school.
Yeah, you can get a picture of Foxcroft. I mean, very, very, very few people go to schools like that. And the entitled, narcissistic, parasites on society that this school is producing is horrible. I mean, I have been back in Washington. Washington is only 1 hour away from Foxcroft in Northern Virginia. I mean, this is pretty much nowadays suburbs of Washington. Like 100 years ago, I had to get there in horse and buggy. So that nobody knows what I've been doing here and everything that I've been going through in Washington I came back in 2009. I mean, just incredible. I mean, this was the conversation that I had. Let's see. When was this with Coy? 2014.
Okay.
A year ago.
Try and call.
Oh, wonderful. I'm on a wonderful cold.
And I sent her the email a week ago and I haven't heard back from her. Glad it's the weekend. Fighting off his cold.
Yeah, so you can look at that if you'd like. In a nutshell, I'm like, well, Coy, did you see the email that I sent to you? Because here, as it, we'll get into it later again, I contact them for the Korean, and I'm told, no, it's only for Black, successful Black stories. I'm like, excuse me? And you're a persona non grata. So I contacted, the trustees. I contacted first Kathy McGee, the head of the school. I was like, excuse me, because this is, as I say, this, I think that, it was 2021. So I've been back in DC for over 15 years. 15 years. How many students have come out of there and launched their career and well on their career when I can barely find a minimum wage job and keep a roof over my head because I dare to want to rock the boat and I've been canceled? And I mean, believe me, we'll see a bit later when I get into my cases. I mean, everybody has just been delighted to stick it to the rich white girl who's been marginalized. So, I mean, I just, as you can see in the video, I mean, I was flabbergasted when I spoke with Coy, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I saw your email." I'm like, "And you didn't respond?" I mean, it's incredible. Nobody responds. They just ignore you. Now, I'm an old lady. Yes, I'm an old lady. So I'm not going to flip out. And I know this is just to make me angry, to denigrate me. You're not even good enough to merit a response. This kind of denigration is 101 in power games, and it is to make the other person pissed off. And it works. I mean, to have somebody, particularly when the person in front of you is an idiot. So anyway, I mean, this whole cancel culture that's going on, we saw this with the Ann Woodward murder of her husband. I mean, I loved it. So, Truman Capote, he exposes that in his book. And this is what, gets all of the Capote swans in an uproar and end up canceling him because they expose all of their dark secrets in a book. He's supposed to keep them. So I'm like, yeah, Foxcroft girls, not a good idea to cancel me because I know where your skeletons are hidden. I mean, this is, Machiavelli 101. That's why, of course, I have to, quickly, like, they really have to make me commit suicide. I told my sister, who says, just give up, just give up. I'm like, what, do you want me to go and jump off a bridge? And citing, first, you guys are involved in slavery because that gets into women's rights within the home and marriage. And then you want to throw suicide in there? I mean, my sister and all of these girls, like you guys, I keep on telling you, I'm going to the international courts. This is international conventions. We're already there. We've got since 2021 apparently submitted to the international criminal courts under crimes against humanity. I'm like, ladies, you can shut me up, but this is not going to go away. And someday you're going to have to deal with it. So in Ann Woodward, I mean, the best is, so her mother-in-law helps cover up that her gold digging whore, who had originally had an affair with her husband, the father-in-law. I mean, this is better than any soap opera. So she murders her husband. The mother-in-law helps cover it up because, oh, what a scandal in society to go through. And then when Capote exposes Anne Woodward for New York and she ends up committing suicide, the mother-in-law says, oh, well, thank goodness. I guess we don't have to worry about that anymore. She's gone. I mean, it's like Mary Richardson Kennedy with the Kennedys. Now, this I'm going to play because this is the crux of the problem. And you can't put it all neither on Cornelia Guest, Deb of the Decade, who was my class at Foxcroft, who was the dropout, nor the Kennedys, Ethel, and I mean, Jackie O, and the whole brood. They're all responsible. They have been at the lead. I mean, the Mars sisters certainly have enough money to take Washington by storm, but no. So anyway, let's see this.
Children in the United States are only 20% of the population, but they are 100% of our future. As a pediatrician, I rely...
Okay, I've tried to do my best. For RFK Jr., I've tried to create a balanced picture here, but I cannot defend the behavior of moving her grave over, especially after they had the spectacular funeral where everybody could see that he really cared about her. Despite all the terrible things that she had done to him, he still cared about her, who she was. But then in the dead of night, to dig up the grave without the permits and to move it to some random place, and then to be like, well, I just didn't know that the plot was so cluttered. Well, you guys managed to bury the body, so what's the problem? It's not like you showed up to the place and were like, oh crap, there's no room here for Mary. Well, I guess we're gonna have to go with plan B. That sucks. No, you managed to bury her, so what's the problem now? How are you? Welcome to my channel. My name is Chair Denise. Today we're going to finish Ask Not. This story has been a long time coming, but I feel like it falls really well here at the very end, especially since we just got done talking about Martha Moxley. And this story today is about Mary Richardson Kennedy, who was married to RFK Jr. And his name was mentioned quite a few times in the last episode, where we discussed his desire to absolve his cousin of these murder accusations. And so we talked a little bit about him, not a lot. Now, I will say that this book goes to no lengths to do any favors for RFK Jr. and his reputation. Lots of people who were upset. I got a lot of messages, people who were upset that I was even doing this book in the first place, saying that I was helping to be a cudgel against RFK Jr. and his, run for president. I hardly think that a book by a Daily Mail journalist is going to be the nail in his coffin, or was the nail in his coffin. But stranger things have happened, so potentially this could have been damning for him. I think this book.
With a ploy, I'm able to get hiring done quickly. It's almost like having an entire team.
No money whatsoever.
Of me.
On the whole, even though is not credible enough to be damning for really anybody. I think that it's a juicy read. It came out during the summer for a reason, because it is a beach read. But it skims the surface like a stone going over the ocean. It is not in depth whatsoever. But with that being said, it's very, very ugly against RFK Jr. in this particular chapter. And I dragged my feet on it because I think there's no room for redemption for him in this chapter. He comes across as a terrible, terrible person. And I don't believe that he is the same person now as he maybe was when he was younger. And I feel like somebody who has openly spoken about his troubles and his issues in the past, both with fidelity and then also with drugs, alcohol, and just generally abusive to himself and to others. He's come out and he's admitted that's who he was. He's also come out and worked hard to not be that person. I feel like he may be one of the only Kennedys who's done that. And I also feel like this is a person who has repeatedly gone against the grain because he believed in it. And whether I always agree with RFK Jr. or not, I do really respect the fact that he is his own man and his family has derided him. His own wife his own wife now does not support whatsoever what he's doing in his alignment with Trump for the good of the American people. I don't think he would himself have wanted to align himself with Trump, but his goals and his ambitions for the health of America is such that he's willing to make amends with the fact that he doesn't love this candidate, but he would love to be able to help the American people. And for that, I have no problems. We do need to become a healthier country. But
yeah, I was just listening to somebody about Bobby and HHS. I mean, trashing him. I agree with her. There's some very unexcusable behavior on the part of Bobby. And I still think oh God, we'll get into this later, his campaign. I mean, everybody on his campaign should be taken out and shot. Okay, not literally. That's an expression. It goes all to go batty over any kind of, expressions. My mother used to always say I wanted to throttle them. Now you say that, she's threatened to kill somebody. So, but it is insane. And the Kennedy women and all of the Kennedys who are just trashing Bobby because they are jealous and this country is going to shit. And Trump, really, we're headed towards a military dictatorship because Trump, I've supported a lot of things that Trump has done in the first the first 100 days, but now, and I have contacted them, I'm like, yeah, we need to clean up Washington. Here are the whole list of people. We can start at the IMF, the World Bank. I got names, I got cases. It's all, this is going to drain this swamp. This is going to put everybody up on their heads. And we'll strike the fear of God into everybody in this city as it should. But no, Strongman, he wants, it is going to end in a military dictatorship. There's no other way that this ends. It's like this city is filled with PhDs who have their head up there, what, and never went to kindergarten. Out. All of them, all of the nonprofits, clear them out. Get all of the civil servants who are playing party politics and seat warming and bullshit out of here. Poor Bobby, they were even saying it's such a mess in HHS and the federal agencies. It's such a mess, and Trump is not addressing the problem. Instead, he wants, bring in National Guard. Let's get some more military budget. If people don't see where this is going, they are stupider than I think.
Anyway, we're kind of meandering into politics.
Yeah.
All this to say, I don't like the fact that this book does not allow for his story of redemption when I feel like it's a very public one and one in which he has owned his faults, which very few politicians ever do. And I feel like it's disingenuous to write a whole chapter on somebody and how abusive they were of his wife and never include anything about the fact that he has openly discussed the fact that he was not a good person for many years of his life and that he is trying to do better now. We have to allow people to do better. And I think what's so strange to me is that Maureen Callahan I've listened to her in enough interviews where it would appear that she doesn't go for this idea that somebody needs to be cudgeled to death because of one specific time in their lives. It would seem that she would support the idea of a redemptive arc, but not in this book. And
Life 360 has been a game changer.
I like Cher Denise a little bit too much. She's against the elite, the ruling elite. I'm like, my dear, because now she lives in Washington. I'm like, you're rubbing shoulders with the ruling elite. Now you're in Washington and part of the ruling elite. Her husband is a a bodyguard with the Secret Service. So not in the upper echelons of the ruling elite, but she has a voice. I mean, particularly with her podcast, she has a voice. So start calling out some people. I've sent her some emails and posted many comments on her. But, you know, this is another problem. All of the podcasters, they, you can't get in touch with them. They get just like the politicians. They become part of this ruling elite and exclusive little club, and they don't want to bother with the little people. They just want to get a big audience so they can get advertising revenues. So, yes, Dr. Kaenzig, you know, I hope you will listen to my email and reflect about what's going on at Foxcroft. Here is Miss Charlotte. She was the one who started Foxcroft. I really didn't get into that in my 8th presentation, but you have a synopsis there. You know, she started in 1914. So she was born 1883. This is this is the robber baron era. And, you know, turn of the century, and you got the flappers. So it is a changing society, and washing society is becoming more and more important. As I had discussed in previous videos. You know, up until this point, you really just had, it was New York, Boston and Philadelphia, after the robber barons took power after the Revolution and Western expansion. It was the, how shall I say it, at least the commercial capital was New York City and Chicago. And Philadelphia and Boston were passé. And Washington was a hardship posed because I'm not really sure. I'll have to check and see exactly when they built all of the, you know, the avenues and the monuments, and kind of started to make it into something more than looking like some Wild West town. With brothels and taverns, etc. So here was an article that, because I wanted to look at the headmistresses, because let's see, Miss Charlotte she was the headmistress until 69. So this is, you know, the feminist movement had started, but she still has a school for young ladies. So in 1954, this is changing profile of schools, mainly the upper crust schools. So in 1954, the Headmistresses Association of the East had 93 members, 3 of whom were men. 1954. Today, 1972, with 96 members, 40 are men. Ironic though it may seem, in this era of escalating women's activism, men have made such inroads in the formerly female-dominated preserve of girls' boarding and day schools that on national level, men administrators may now be, I guess this is a typo, be in the minority. In fact, the male membership of the National Association of Principals of Schools for Girls jumped from 17% in 1953 to 49% in 69 and to 60% last fall in 70, so it would be 71. With the new male majority, the association got its first male president. He was also a member of the 100% male Headmasters Association. So this, in the 1900s, what had previously been a very female-dominated profession was now becoming, and I think we'll see in the next one, I'm pretty sure it looks what's going on. You know, you have more and more highly educated, well, particularly after World War II, with the GI Bill, you all of a sudden had all of these educated people who didn't want to go and work on the farms. And so this is, of course, where we see the, you know, the agriculture going down and manufacturing moving up in production and service industries. So it's, you know, the managerialism epidemic is in full force. And I think that's really, you know, why you saw the entry of men, and then we got a backlash that comes in later. And now it's like, oh, well, the men, this is a male dominated field, so us feminists want to take it over. It's like, wait a second, you guys had that one before. Oh yeah, but we didn't think it was important until the men got in there. That's basically what's going on. Oh, I mean, the feminists are crazy. They're crazy. So the socially secure Foxcroft school, I don't know why they call it socially secure, now has a faculty of 50% men and innovation under Alexander Yule, who has been head since 1967. Oh, I guess that was wrong. She wasn't, she left in 67, I guess, Miss Charlotte. So one of the first changes Mr. Yule made was to abolish the traditional marching and drilling at a girls' school. So horseback riding remained. Well, thank God. So the finishing school atmosphere disappeared as instruction in the social graces gave way to programs aimed at stirring social consciousness. Well, that sounds very, very well and good, right? Yes. Well, it wasn't very effective. Yeah, I mean, I cannot say that the girls that go to that school that I know, you know, from when I was there or any other time, are exactly socially conscious, or, I mean, you know, pretty much social climbers and backstabbers. Well, as we will see, I mean, I was floored with the, you know, not only the trustees, the alumni association reaction was, you know, well, you're on your own. I mean, I've been told, oh, well, it's normal. You've been offered up as a sacrificial lamb for all of us at Foxcroft, the whites, and, you know, to atone for the sins of our forefathers. I'm like, wait a second, my forefathers came over with the Puritans and are in the founding fathers. They're not robber barons. And I'm supposed to pay the price for your parents and grandparents and everything. I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, quite frankly, the audacity. I'm like, you guys, I got you under RICO, the Alien Enemy Act. Oh, and there was something that Megyn Kelly was pulling out. I gotta find that video again. I can't remember. It was a new one. But I was like, oh, I can use that one too. That's a good one. And I mean, this is heavy shit. I keep on telling all of the Foxcroft alumni and faculty, we're looking at prison time. Serious stuff. And we're good. We're good. I mean, I just keep on thinking that get some more National Guards and more military to protect us and everything. I'm like, you guys, that didn't work with Marie Antoinette, didn't work with Tsar Nicholas and Alexander. you know, Machiavelli, born, I mean, we read Machiavelli at Foxcroft. I was like, yeah, this is pretty much how the world works. And if all of you Foxcroft girls remember, Machiavelli said, when you lose the support of the people, your days are numbered. And I mean, Trump made a big mistake with the whole Jeffrey Epstein. He's losing support with the MAGA. I mean, oh yeah, I mean, he's a good con artist. I'll give him that. So anyway, this is another one I love. The women headmistresses, for instance, repeatedly tried to change the anachronistic name of the association, now in its 30th year, but just as consistently, the men voted those moves down. It is well worth the mileage I get in laughs, reported Richard W. Davis. Yeah, I mean, see, it's the woman. No, can't have this woman's name. Yeah, like, see, this started back in the 70s. This started a long time ago. So, and then, oh, I liked this one as well, in the article. So after several husband-wife teams, the era of coordinate leadership is, I believe, now over. Yeah, you know, the wives supporting the husbands, it's over, and it's really created a problem. My thing is, with all of these women moving into the workplace, I'm like, well, wait a sec, then your husband has to pick up the slack on your responsibilities in the society. How's that working out? Like with Christine Lagarde and her partner, Xavier Giaconte and Marseille, not working out too good. Kristalina Georgieva, now the head of the IMF, and her husband, I forget exactly where in Eastern Europe, he didn't come to the States. I'm like, yeah, he got a letter from me, not working out too good. Yeah, so see, this whole thing with women moving into the workforce and having it all, I'm like, yeah, well, your husbands better pick up the slack. I covered that in about Cobham Hall, about Alex Crawford, who they moved to Istanbul in Turkey, her family, her husband's the trailing spouse. I'm like, well, buck it up. This is why globalization is failing. So anyway, there we see a change in the educational systems starting back in the 60s and 70s. Oh, I loved this. Mrs. Selby, from behind her headmistress's desk at the Lennox School, said, I find a lack of women ready to take on fuller responsibilities. I mean, there has been a lot of propaganda for a long time. One indication, she said, is that lists submitted by the National Association of Independent Schools containing candidates for her job had 100 men and only 3 women on it. Well, as we saw before, because men were stepping up to the plate, and women were either, you know, becoming suburban housewives, popping pills, or they were moving in. They didn't want to do women's work, which was the educational systems, and they were moving into elsewhere, so the men stepped in. It's a familiar male takeover, always against the men. It's their fault. It's their fault. So she said, happening in likening the situation to what she said is happening in the staffing and administration of library, school, training teachers, and home economists, and the women colleges. Yeah, they all wanted to go into do men's work and men's jobs and go to war and fight in wars. I mean, what's wrong with women's work? I mean, administrative function is in shambles in Washington, public and private sectors. I mean, all of these corporations and businesses, if they were really caring about profits, they would care about this totally dysfunctional management that they've got going on. Any kind of upgrading of a profession in which women dominate brings in, quotes, integration by men, she explained. Then the men set up their oh boy network and add more men. Well, the women do the same. They've done the same thing. It isn't that the women aren't competent and competitive. Well, they're certainly competitive. They're not always competent. Well, the men aren't either. It's the cumulative effect of discouragement that eventually keeps them from trying. Listen, everybody's been telling me for 18, going on 19 years, shut up, stupid, shut up, stupid. Well, I even got that when I was little. Yeah, and it's not going to keep me from trying. Go jump off a bridge, go jump off a bridge. Well, I'm not going to do it. And the day that I do get a voice in the press or in policy discussions, this is not going to go well. So anyway, oh, I loved this one. We're trying to make our girls know they can grow up and become scientists before they fully realize that they will grow up and become women. I agree with that. Yeah, let's teach our young ladies to be young ladies instead of bull-busting, backstabbing bitches. Education by imitation. Yeah. Good and the bad. Yes, we need better role models. Because, Lordy Lord, the Americans have really... It's not just the Americans. It's because I've seen it. I saw it in Europe. I saw it in South America, everywhere. So they have to be a mother, a wife, a sex symbol, a brain. Well, they always did. Whatever role they opt for, they're not doing the other thing. Well, see, that's having it all. That's like, yeah, traditionally women did have to do it all. What we're trying to do here is to offer girls a viable option and give them confidence so that in the future they can become one or all of these things. Yeah, well, if you teach them how to be respectable, caring, civic-minded ladies, well, then they would have confidence in themselves and they wouldn't be, I mean, the first headhunter I met with, she said, I'll never find your job because anybody interviewing you is going to be afraid in 6 months you'll have your job. That was 18 years ago. And it keeps on happening to me. I mean, all I keep on saying is, you guys, this is illegal. This is illegal under U.S. federal laws. I'll see you in court. You can't catch me. So, okay. Then, yeah, so this, we'll see. Okay, I came across a blog by Marty Kaplan. He was at Foxcroft when I was there, he and his wife. His wife was the Spanish teacher, our Spanish teacher. Now, you would think, particularly me, who was probably the worst student that any Spanish, I didn't even take French ever. I was so bad at Spanish, and I was good at math and science. But yeah, I just, je suis, tu es, il est, nosotros, esa es una pluma. Voy a ponerlo abajo de la mesa. I'm sorry, this is boring. So yeah, I mean, I have to say, at least with me, the only way I'm going to learn a language is throw me into the country and sink or swim, and I'll pick it up real quick. That's the best way to learn a language. It's just immerse yourself. So anyway, I'm saying, I'm sorry, with the Kaplans, particularly, it would be like, what, how the hell did you learn to speak 2 languages and you sound like a native when you speak it? You know, you would think, just like with Noam Chomsky, who's a linguist, you would think that they would be interested in all the work that I've been doing on linguistics and rhetoric and the role that rhetoric and you know, words and ideologies, because that does come in. If you get into the different languages, you can see that. I mean, if you really understand the languages and the different cultures, you know, it does open up a whole different perspective, because if you really understand not just the language of another person, but where they're coming from in another culture, it does open you up to understanding your own culture and just more about the world and more about life. So anyway, you would think that they'd be interested. I mean, we've been on Facebook. He even says he follows everybody on Facebook. As I say, I've been on Facebook since before I left Spain. So everybody knows that I barely made it out alive from Spain. I mean, it was somebody in Louisiana, Enid Poole. She said, oh my God, take your kids and run. I was like, you can't do that. They'll throw me in prison. I mean, this is serious shit. Amnesty International says I have 1/4% chance of survival, and everybody thinks it's real funny. Just cover it up, cover it up. Oh, no unpleasantness, no unpleasantness. Bobby Kennedy's campaign said that to me. Oh, Bobby Kennedy's campaign's ignoring you because they don't want to deal with any unpleasantness. It's like, I couldn't believe. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He's running for president. He doesn't want to deal with unpleasantness. Need I say more of why he did not win? Anybody complains about what we got here, well, they should just shut the frick up. So now, the Kaplans are now in Spain, so they can listen. Spain goes to the polls. This is where, if there's a separatist movement of the Catalan region, this is the same dynamics that led to the rise to power of Franco. I mean, this is deja vu everywhere we turn, and nobody wants to deal with any unpleasantness. So you can go in and see my question. It's at 1:12. It's a little bit long-winded, but let's see, what was it? Pablo, what is his name? I always forget it. He's one of the bigwig Spanish journalists in DC, and he's gotten emails from me over the years. He just keeps on ignoring me. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll see you in court. And this other guy, Jesus Villaverde. I'm like, okay, buddy. I mean, my favorite, I was like, okay, what are you doing? What are they doing in Spain? They've got this utopian constitution. What are they doing to implement it? He says, oh, well, I don't think anybody's ever going to implement it. Well, with that attitude, of course they're not. You kick some butt with all of these lawyers who are just trashing your courts and your judges. I mean, when I went through the system, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to get to the United States and everybody would be like, oh my God, we got to do something. No, welcome to the club. I was like, my Lord. And then here, I'll play a little bit of this. She's a Spaniard. See, I mean, I can tell even the South Americans think I'm Spanish, and the Spanish think I'm South American, because I lived in Colombia for 6 years, in Spain for 7. So, but really pretty good. Okay, the Argentinians, the Uruguayans, I confuse there. That's hard, but even Latinos, they're like, oh yeah, that's very similar. Venezuelans and Colombians, they sound very familiar, similar. Don't tell them that, but they do. Oh, en Spaniard, you can tell us Spanish. Well, Barcelona o Madrid, eso está bien.
Hi, I'm Isa and I'm from Mexico.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm from Puerto Rico.
Hi, I'm Moni. I'm from Mexico City.
Estoy orgullosa de ser ecuatoriana.
Orgullosa de ser mexicana norteña.
Estoy orgullosa de ser mexicana.
Estoy orgullosa de ser mexicana.
Soy de Nicaragua y estoy muy orgullosa de representar mi país aquí en los Estados Unidos.
Soy de México. Estoy orgullosa de mi herencia mexicana.
Soy Vice. Estoy orgullosa de ser mexicana.
Hola, soy la señora Sánchez y soy de España.
De México.
Sí.
De México. Bueno.
Yeah, de España. Yeah, I liked it with how they have the gardeners there. Because, well, you know, I'm like, wait a second. If we saw this with Cobham Hall and the immigrants as well, I'm like, wait a second. The poor immigrants are just following the lead of the rich immigrants. Like, we're here to cash in. Everybody is. So don't, we're going to throw at all of the poor immigrants who are violating the law, but the rich ones, we're not going to touch. No, that's exactly what Trump is doing now. I'm like, you get rid of the thugs, you're going after the violent kids in the poor neighborhoods, but you're not going to touch anybody in Northwest, not in the international community, not in the government agencies. We need a purge, big, huge purge, and going after going over to Columbia Heights. I saw that. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, they got the National Guard. I can't imagine there are many of them in Georgetown. Traipsing around the streets there. No, of course. They were found. They go to Columbia Heights. Yes. Well, I mean, I won't even go in the metro anymore. It has been trashed, and I agree. No, I'm sorry. The federal government needs to step in and take over D.C. Congressman, Holmes Norton. I mean, I'm fit to be tied. How many times have I been down to her office? I gave up. Nothing. I mean, oh yeah, give us a congressman. Our problem is with DC is we don't have a congressman, we don't have a senator, we don't have a representation, and the federal government, controls us. Yeah, when I lived here before, it was the murder capital of the United States. This is cracking me up. With Trump saying how bad the crime is in DC. When Ed Martin came in, we had all over the press, this is just a couple months ago, all over the press of how they were getting tough on DC and the crime rate had already gone down. And I was like, oh, you guys, that's not pretty, that's not hard to do. And now all of a sudden, they're flipping the story. Crime is horrible in DC, which it is. I'm not going to say it's not, and something needs to be done about it, but you need to go after the six-figure guys as much in the Northeast, as much as the poor people. Even more so. You'll send a very, very strong message. Then the poor people will be like, well, yeah, okay. Our government starts caring about us, going to clean it up. Well, they'll follow the lead. This is what role models are about. So I liked this blog with Marty Kaplan and his wife when they come to Foxcroft for the visit the first time. We parked outside a brick house and gave our names to the receptionist and were invited to wait in the sitting room until Bob Lepheimer would come and meet us. Let's see. Oops, that's not, where'd it go? Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. So there we sat in this very colonial and very formal sitting room. Susan and I looked at each other and exchanged glances that said this was not quite the place for us. It was way too formal for who we were back then. Susan said, I feel like I should be wearing white gloves. Yeah, I mean, I get it. However, I have to, say I love no, that's what Maryland is about, that colonial feel. And I would know that's the tradition of Maryland and Virginia, and you should keep it up. So we were quite uncomfortable, to say the least. Okay, he said it because he had said that he had thought that they hadn't contacted him at first because he hadn't finished his PhD. So this, I mean, I'm not sure at what point, if they needed a PhD, because, this whole thing of you need a PhD to teach at schools. Okay, we saw Jeffrey Epstein. He hadn't even finished college. But PhDs, I mean, this whole fixation with PhDs, of course, if you read in anything, I'm like, get every single PhD in Washington and throw them out of town. They are the most overinflated ego idiots. And believe, every single one of them in the think tanks, you need to get rid of it. I mean, if we could get rid of all of that waste, then we would be able to budget the federal debt. I mean, it's got to stop. Oh, and then I loved it. I remember Carla Somoza asking me searching questions about my teaching methodology. Carla Somoza, that's the dictator of Nicaragua. Ana Navarro, look at that a little bit there. Look at what you entitled little girls coming from Nicaragua to the United States. What contributions are you making here or in your own country? No, you're just entitled little so-and-sos. I mean, Ana Navarro, she just gets my goat. At the end of the day, let's see. At the end of the day, we had a very good impression of Foxcroft, and the feeling was mutual. Yeah, of course. So they came and they, I mean, the Kaplans, I think, were very, very nice. I liked them. They were definitely, kind of hippie-ish. But, and I'm sorry, they're, okay, I have to say, I'm not somebody who is going to be giving lots and lots of advice in putting together a language course, but I can tell you what doesn't work. Can't tell you what really, except total immersion. Let's see, and that's why I think like schools with with a lot of the Latino girls, yeah, this is good. Put them in at a table and say, okay, you girls, you're gonna have to speak Spanish here, and if you want somebody to pass you the peas, you're gonna have to say it in Spanish, and we're gonna do it all in Spanish, and make it a little bit fun, but you force them to do it, and get them to speak with somebody, with the girls who, and I used to do that all the time when I was in France or when I was in Spain. I would meet with a local and we would speak English and Spanish or French, and I would correct them, and then they would correct me, and no money changed hands, and nobody had any money. We were all students. Well, we just needed somebody to practice who was a native, and it worked out fine. And I would say, of course, I always say, oh, you really want to learn a language? Find a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They'll teach you. So yeah, that's the best way. Because of course you spend a lot of time with that person. So anyway, and you do have to communicate occasionally. So anyway, many of my students, advisees, and acquaintances are on Facebook, friends today, and needless to say, I enjoy keeping up with the events of their lives. Well, not so much in my case, I guess. So they would, so this is also, I was like, wow, gosh, these schools, they do pay a lot of things. So they paid for, they go on these mini terms. I really did like the mini term. I wish they would bring that mini term to Foxcroft and other schools. I thought it was a good idea. Mini term in France was one of the offerings. Yeah, many terms. I went home, worked for my parents on the farm that they were renovating in Louisiana. Then they went to mini term in Spain. Oh, they were actually sent on an all expense paid trip to investigate. And they traveled, let's see, to Madrid, Zaragoza, Barcelona, and Granada, and decided on Madrid. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, all of those places would be nice. But, you know, this is the whole thing. See, globalization, paying for these teachers to go to Spain, and you'll see they eventually are going to retire in Spain. Well, with the way things are going in Spain, same thing here. I mean, one kid I worked with in a restaurant here, it's a Spanish restaurant, he was Spanish, he was like, yeah, todos los inmigrantes, all the immigrants in Spain, they're taking all the jobs from the Spaniards. I looked at him, I was like, excuse me, you're stealing jobs. I can barely get a job in my own country. I mean, literally, and these kids, they know about my case in Spain. They know I fled Spain for my life. And I mean, their attitude is, well, you know, your husband doesn't know how to play the game better. I was like, you people are sick. Never, I've got no problem. You take those people's assets and you throw them out of the country because they are terrorists, but never in even my wildest dreams would I say, oh, why don't you just, hold them for a year and like let anybody, if you want to kill them, go ahead. Like we could put you all in the big, huge convention center and a free for all, like in these reality shows, survival. If you can survive the year and make it out of the country alive, well, you're okay. I mean, you talk about Trump and Nazism. I mean, these people are sick, really sick. So he met Alberto Samper. Bueno, the Samper family is in fact, I have the family tree that gets into Eva Longoria's family is connected to the Samper. And that's a friend of my son's in Colombia, is also of the Samper family. So see, all of these families, they're related. And, as I've said to Eva Longoria and Ana Navarro, I am sorry, but you little prima donnas got to stop saying, everything in this world is because you're Latina. I know. I mean, particularly those two girls. Oh, come on. So he became the school's liaison for a Better Chance program, and the students they sent to Foxcroft. So this, because I do remember that some of the girls, for example, Andrea Reed, Tanya Butler Truesdale, and there was a group of girls at Foxcroft who I guess had gotten scholarships, African-American girls. And I mean, they were vicious. They stayed in their little clique, and Andrea was part of that. Tanya was part of that. And I remember Janine Prim. She was what everybody called an Oreo. Maybe people find that offensive or something today. That's what it was called. And that's what everybody said. I think even the black people, to my knowledge. I mean, Janine, I had no issue with Janine, and she did. She hung out with the white girls just because, I mean, it was more It wasn't a racial thing, it was more of a class thing. Janine, her father was a brain surgeon in New York. She came from money. I'm sure she felt more comfortable around the white girls rather than this little clique of scholarship black girls. And they were vicious. They went to her and they said, you better stop hanging out with the white girls and you hang out with us. And she went, I mean, I heard this. I was a firsthand witness, but I heard it. I mean, she went and she was crying and everything. I was like, God, well, Parford, of course. I mean, yeah, my sister said, oh, you didn't thrive at Foxcroft because you weren't popular. I'm like, yeah, well, thank you very much. I didn't want to have anything to do with a lot of stuff that was going on. And apparently, yeah, it's still going on. Well, he says, every single one of them earned my admiration for not only surviving, but also thriving in a setting that was nothing like all their previous experiences. Admiration for surviving. Nobody was racist towards them. Nobody. As I say, they were a little clique, and they were the ones who were racist against the whites. I didn't ever, in all of the years that I was there and in all of the different classes, I never met anybody who said anything negative or any kind of indication, any kind of racial slurs. Yeah, I'm living in the South. You might hear them down there, but never. So they earned my admiration for not only surviving, holy shit, they're at a country club, surviving, but also thriving in a setting. Yeah, nothing like their previous experiences. Yeah, well, Foxcroft for me as well. I mean, yeah, okay, I grew up in a very affluent neighborhood in Tucson, but still, yeah, some of the mansions that these girls or jets at going to Palm Beach and going to Martha's Vineyard for vacation, yeah, that just wasn't on the itinerary of my family. And I would go and work on the farm. So, this whole thing of that type of thing really pisses me off. It was also a time when my relationship with our international students became formalized. At the time, we had students from South America, Central America, Mexico, Japan, and Thailand. I don't remember Japan or Thailand. We also had a goodly number of Aramco students. Now, this is apparently some exchange with Saudi Arabia type of thing. Because if you click, I was like, I'd never heard of Aramco. The Fulbright Foundation, and that's administered by the State Department. That I know about. And then with Ingrid Betancourt, with the affirmative action scholarships that were started under her father during the Kennedy administration. I went into that, and that's in a blog about Ingrid Betancourt and her sister Astrid. So anyway, and as I've shown, and this is something that in my submission to Jeanine Pirro, the Attorney General of DC, and soliciting investigations into a lot of people here, I do get into that. That these, we've had, for example, one of the issues, and they call it a brain drain in the development community. All of these people who were going to be educated in the United States, the idea was that they would return to their country. Well, they didn't. And one of the statistics was that 75% of those who obtain PhDs stay here. And I was hearing somebody going, oh yeah, and you're scaring people off. All of these people come in here, who are going to bring their great ideas. I was like, we need less great ideas and more practical ideas, and just some old school common sense. And so another overinflated PhD who think that they're God's gift to the world, or another IT techie liberal. They're driving us all frickin' batty and creating bubble and bust economies. This summer, the school sent me to the Northfield Mount Herman Counseling Institute, run by Stanley King, someone I'm going to have to investigate, and a number of others from the Harvard School of Mental Health. Okay, yeah, see, all of the psychologists, all the psychobabble bullshit dates back to the 60s and 70s. That's infiltrated into, as you see here, educational systems and HR functions. Oh, this is the thing. Lisa, the new headmistress, she has a PhD from GWU in human resource management. When I saw that, I was like, excuse me, trustees of Foxcroft, like, really, you guys, you're really looking for a fight? And then in an interview, one of the headmistress interviews, it was on a Zoom call. I've still asked for the videos on all of those interviews because I want to see them, because I was sitting there going, I can't believe that question. So one of the questions was, how are you going to handle suicide? Now, I remember when I saw Amy Milbrandt, that would have been like 2017 or something, I forget. Was it that? Yeah, I think it would have been, yeah, around 2017, I believe. Or maybe it was after the shutdown, because I think my parents had passed away by that time. Anyway, she told me that 6 girls had been thrown out, expelled for drinking or drugs or something. One of them had been head of school. You guys, we progressed from a cocaine epidemic to an opioid epidemic. I mean, come on, you guys. We have obesity problems. We have mental health care problems that are exploding. The country is going to shit. And no. We're all good. We're all good. Let's see. Foxcroft underwrote another summer experience that was a turning point in both Susan's life and my life. While attending a language convention, we struck up a conversation with representatives from the School of International Training in Brattleboro, Vermont. SIT was the degree granting arm of the experience in international living. In addition to a master's program, offered summer workshops. Now, I lived abroad for 20 years. I speak 2 languages fluently. I can tell you not only about the French culture, but the Belgian culture where I lived. I mean, I totally immersed myself in these cultures and these communities, and I could give lectures to PhDs about all of these issues. My favorite was at GW when I went to meet with the head of the entrepreneur department, because I'm trying to find some techie kids to put together Global Expats website, the social networking website, and he wants to sell me classes on entrepreneurship that I could teach. I mean, it is absolutely out of control higher education. And the PhDs, they come out and they think they're God's gift to the world when they don't know diddly squat. Something to be said for a little bit of experience. Okay. Oh, this I love as well. The term student-centered education had not been invented yet. Yeah, well, they got that. Let's see. We asked permission from the administration to radically change the way we taught Spanish. They said yes, and desks were pushed aside, and the floor became our workspace. Yes, their system. I don't know. They can maybe take some sondage, some surveys, but I have to say, my experience, I still couldn't speak any Spanish or French after any of my language classes at school. Okay, so, and the last experience that Foxcroft financed for us was, see, this is where the $77,000 a year that they charge for school goes to, was a week-long seminar put on by the Society for International Education and Research. It was held at Georgetown University, and its focus was helping us to work with foreign students or those who were about to leave the U.S. for an in-country experience. So I say, I had tons of experience in that, but no, I'm a persona non grata because I represent white privilege, and I'm an American, and I'm a hard worker, and I don't take shit. So yeah, I can't even keep a roof over my head or find a minimum wage job in my own country. See, I mean, the Kaplans, the way things that are going in Spain, there's nothing to stop them from having their assets seized and all of the foreigners thrown out. I mean, my neighbor in Madrid, she's down in Marbella. I got this message from her on LinkedIn because I was like, excuse me, because now she's a journalist. I'm like, why don't you write some stories about what's going on instead of, oh, no, instead of a morning show, what is it, Marbella Now or something. Like, all of the Brits down there, I mean, Marbella, that you talk about, you know, exploitative and self-destructive tourism and all of these retirees. I mean, the Spaniards are getting pissed off. They have not made a positive contribution. In fact, Marbella has been owned by the Russian mafia since the 60s or 70s. Everybody knows it. And Nicole, she's just like, well, whatever. So anyway, oh, I loved this story. I'd heard that when I was at Foxcroft. This was with the McBrides. They were Mr. McBride, he was the science teacher. And so their daughter, Kirsten, I guess, and Rachel, I guess the Kaplans with the foxes. You have the foxes and the hounds. And so Rachel rushed up to Kirsten, and these, you know, these are young girls, to her and breathlessly asked, "Are you a fox or a hound?" Kirsten thought it over for a minute and replied, "Neither, I'm a Christian." I'm with Kirsten. No, the whole, there's the competition. And my case is a very good example of that. The competition and the aggression that is being taught to Foxcroft students has produced generation and generation of viperous little backstabbing witches. Oh, and I remember this, I do also, was Biff Smith. He was the English teacher. He was my English teacher, and I babysat for him. He said, "God, I think you spend more time with my kids than I do," because they did go out a lot. Although it was thanks to him and his family, I mean, he and his wife, with all the babysitting money that I made, that I was able to do my senior mini term working for the senator from Louisiana, a Democrat. My mother forbade it and said, "There's no freaking way you're going to come and work on the farm." I was like, "Are you kidding? I work on the farm renovating houses every summer and every vacation." You know, I was like, my God, most people would cut off their right arm if their kid, to give their kid a job as an internship with the senator, and I get kicked out and disowned. So it was thanks to the Smiths that I was able to pay for that. Because she said, "Well, you're going to have to pay for it yourself." And I was like, "Okay, I'm fine, I will." I had no idea I was going to come up with the money. And thank God I started babysitting for the Smiths. So, and yeah, I took during the mini term, they had a Mr. Smith and yeah, Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Smith, and there was one of the other English teacher, I think. What was it? Or Mr. Sellers, I think it was. Anyway, they taught magic. They did a magic course. Oh, and then a course, and I was kind of curious at first. I was like, what? On soap operas as a genre. And it was actually very, very interesting. I was like, okay, come on, you guys, what are you doing? Like, Biff Smith, he's trying to teach us Shakespeare. And I was like, can you translate, please? I don't speak Old English. I don't speak Old English any better. I was like, get the Cliff Notes, you guys, because yeah. I'm sorry. Old English and Latin, thank you very much. Give me the Cliff Notes. So anyway, I was like, are you guys really going to do it? But it was actually, it's very, very interesting that mini term course. As I say, I thought it was really a good idea, their mini term. They should bring it back. But then they need to do some other stuff. Teach their students a little bit of ethics and how to read and write. Oh, cursive. I started. The quantity of students and young men and women who can't read or write in cursive. Oh, I'm absolutely horrified. This is ridiculous, ridiculous. So now we get to the mean girls and meaner women. Tripping the Prom Queen. So one of the things that I love about this book is how she points out, well, all of them, Tripping the Prom Queen, Phyllis Chesler, and Women's Inhumanity to Women, all of the experts who have written about women on women aggression, they start the book out saying, look, I was really pressured not to write this book. This is a taboo subject nobody wants to expose. So of course that's, I am despised by the feminist. I am their arch enemy. For example, Nancy Pelosi hates me. I keep on saying, come on, you guys. If I can scare Nancy Pelosi, give me a voice. Give me a voice. Empower me. And I will send some ladies running. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, with zipper problems. So anyway, what I love about this book is how she explains that the feminist movement, all it's accomplished is to increase women's competition and aggression to include from competition for husbands, mansions, wonderful houses, material wealth, and success of their children. Now, unfortunately, everybody, the success of their children means that they got a PhD or an MBA and straight A's. And this is, even my older sister, she was always the straight A student. And she would admit it. She said, oh, stupid. Getting straight A's, all you got to figure out is what they want you to answer on a test. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm just not interested. I mean, see, this is my mom would always say, all your teachers said you would be a straight A student if you would just put a little bit of effort into it. I'm like, yeah, well, when they make the subjects interesting, I blow you guys away. So why don't you stop saying the problem's with me and maybe it's with you? Believe me, I want not just in the American educational system, but the British, the French. See, the French is controlled, even the international schools are controlled by the French government, and much more so than the American or the British system. And the positive side of that is the standards have not gone down like they have. Every child, what is it? I forget who was it? The Bush, one of the Bush's wives. No child left behind. you know, instead of, oh, we got to make sure we get our education better. Oh, no, 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 we'll just lower the standards so everybody will pass the test. Well, now we have several generations, I do believe, that don't know how to read or write. I mean, this country needs a reset, a complete reset. And all of these little ladies who have just been cashing in should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, the Kennedys are one of my big pet peeves. And this is Sydney. This is Peter Lawford's daughter. She's an alumni of Foxcroft. Got an email from me. Just ignore him. Well, Sydney, your sons are not going to fare too well. I mean, just ignore her till she goes away. Just ignore her till she goes away. Now, my favorite. Like, see, you guys, the winds of war are changing. And they're more and more. See, you know, I've understood for a long time, I'm not going to get anywhere with the feminist. I mean, one of the first, at the first demonstrations that I attended in 2009, first, I was told, no, you're not invited to this meeting. It's like a private meeting. I was like, why are you guys having private meetings? I just come off the boat. I just gotten here. And I thought I would go to this demonstration and go, ladies, you can't believe. And they said, welcome to the club. So I'm like, why are you guys having a private meeting? What's going on here? And then, I mean, I was verbally assaulted viciously by an old, I mean, she was a grandmother in a wheelchair, so fat. The obesity problem in this country. She couldn't walk. And she said, you should be here. This is about the children. And I mean, my kids were in Spain. I had barely made it out alive. I was, you know, worried sick about them. Okay, they're not little babies with this violent man, but they are still adolescent boys. I mean, okay, they're almost 15 and 16. You know, I mean, vicious. And we would be so much farther, and we would have the courts cleaned up. Everybody who's going off about Epstein, oh, the children, I'm like, don't give me that bullshit. Because I have been coming to you about horrific cover-up of toddlers, of babies being violated, being raped, being beaten, just horrific stories. We have the bar associations from across the country. This is documented and has been for 30, 40 years what's been going on. I've got all sorts of books that I've read. It's all in my bibliography. Nobody can say they didn't know. But no, we don't want any unpleasantness. We just want to sweep it under the carpet. So all of this stuff with the Epstein, oh, these poor children. I'm like, don't give me that bullshit, because you all know. And the feminists, they're all covering up. The domestic violence people, all of those nonprofits, I want to see them in court. The woman, Barbara Stone in Florida, who has submitted, at least this is what she's told me, to the International Criminal Courts under crimes against humanity, against the family courts. She's dealing with the elder abuse. You know, I'm like, it's elders, it's children, it's, you know, women, everyone. This is inadmissible. She said, you wouldn't believe, it's a competition between the victims who has the worst case. And I'm like, tell me about it. See, this whole competition for everything. It is not. It has made American women just, I'm ashamed of them all, particularly these ladies. Oh, I mean, Vicky Threlfall, that's one of my big pet peeves. State Department. When I get Vicky into court, that's not going to be, and she's not going to know where to hide. How I see they're treating Ghislaine Maxwell, all of these ladies should be running scared. My favorite, I just saw Kim Elting. She's on the board of trustees. She got an email from me, just ignored me. My sister, she said, oh yeah, Kim was in Telluride in Colorado recently, and she didn't even contact me. Well, fair weather friends. Bobby Kennedy said this about his mom, and all of these ladies is the same. Fair weather friends, friend or foe. And destroy or be destroyed. And Cornelia with her whole Deb of the decade, that has just brought the elitism and fascism to the right and the left. So Kim Elting resigned as president of Global Orthopedics from this Orthofix, where she was working, with 3 executives for repeated inappropriate and offensive conduct. It's like, see, the winds of war are changing. So yeah, this hopefully I'll get, the press, but this is not going to be good for Foxcroft. The more and more I have these ladies falling down like Humpty Dumpty, it's going to be better for me. We've got the Gonzalez Carino versus Spain, and Gonzalez Linehan versus USA. And I want all of them to explain to me where I'm wrong, because I'm not. So, as I keep on saying, you can't negotiate with terrorists. And that's what these ladies are. So, oh gosh, okay. Okay, just let me take my pen off. I don't want to draw. Oh, there, it'll give me my mouse back. Sorry, I'm still. Okay, so again, I always pull out this is always in the slides, the Chomsky propaganda model, because that's what we are constantly looking at. It's propaganda, 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 with all of the different factions. And here are, once again, tripping the prom queen, the competition. This I love.
How are you so pathetic and so fragile that you're going to let somebody's podcast in another country determine whether you decide to be happy that day or not? You're the one who decided that you want to have an affair with a 14-year-old. How is that Candace Owens' problem? You're the one that is a nasty, disgusting, filthy pervert who continues to leave clues everywhere so that journalists can pick up on that and be like, hey, did you know that Macron wants to replace the steeple with an erect penis? All kinds of crazy stuff that Brigitte has been into, and now she's mad that somebody's collected the pieces and been like, that person might be a sicko. But that's our fault for noticing. It's not your fault for being a disgusting pervert. It's our fault for noticing.
As I say, the winds of war are changing. Unfortunately, Cher Denise is also ignoring me. But yeah. See, okay, so the this with the IMF, the one of the problems with all of the boarding schools here is that all of the international community and everybody in Washington, they get part of their benefit package is that their kids go to these schools. And so, they want these jobs for the kids to go to the schools, and they're getting involved. I'm like, you're corrupting even more these schools than they already are by the Americans. So, this is all in Washington. The IMF Family Association, Anne Sinclair, Brigitte Macron, because Dominique Strauss-Kahn was arrested in 2011. It just, I'm like, when is everybody going to wake up that the house of cards is coming down? Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. So Anne Sinclair, she's not sitting pretty because she was, in fact, the reason I came up, well, apart from having to provide for my family, I came up with the idea for global expats in 2007 because after everything that I experienced as a board member and as a member of these expat wives clubs, when I was the president of Bogota, 30 years it's been in existence. It's still in existence because of what I put up with as the president. The year that I was president, I only took the job because we were going to close up shop if somebody didn't keep it going. And I do believe in these expat wives clubs. But you got to get rid of the backstabbing bitches. FACO, I'm going to see in court. I mean, FACO was started in 1931 by Carolyn Curtis Brown, an American in London, because she thought enlightened women around the world could do much to promote internet, peace. I'm like, yes, the operative word is enlightened. And also to defend the citizenship rights of women whose citizenship were not being respected. Well, I'm like, little ladies, you dropped the ball on that one for the past 60 years, if not more. So anyway, the IMF has their association, and the World Bank, they have their Expat Wives Club, and the IMF Family Association, I'm going to see in court as well, because I did such a good job in organizing and putting together a filing system that little Beatrix Keller, she thought I had done such a good job. She took credit for it and got rid of me. Now everybody in Washington goes, yeah, that's kind of par for the course these days, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, and it's illegal. That little viperous bitch. And everybody who's protecting her is accessory to her crimes, and which includes Anne Sinclair, the wife of Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who was arrested in 2011 for sexual assault of a Sofitel maid. Now, of course, it ended when I heard that. I said, oh, they just did that to take him out of the 2011 French presidential campaign. And see where France is now? And of course I was right. However, it did expose that that he had been doing it for a long time. Anne Sinclair was like, oh, j'ai entendu des rumeurs. This is a journalist. She had heard rumors about her husband's zipper problems, but never wanted to do anything about it. See, I'm exposing all of all of this criminal activity and all of these lecherous men, instead of welcome with open arms. No, canceled and marginalized. Now, see, if you cover it up, oh, you're given a job as editor-in-chief of the French Huffington Post. See how it goes? Okay, so these are the things that I pretty much covered in the 8th presentation. Again, you can go and see. This is Foxcroft Notable Alumni, one of it, the Grande Dame back in the early 1900s, Bunny Mellon. She went to Foxcroft at the beginning, so I forget when Bunny Mellon was born. But this is her stepdaughter, Catherine Warner, who was married to John Warner, Senator John Warner, who is most well known for having been married to Elizabeth Taylor after he divorced from Catherine Conover. He was the social climbing gold digger and ended up with the mansion in that case. I'm like, wait a second, why did he get the mansion? He had no right to that mansion. See, this whole thing of, the gold diggers and they get money that they're not entitled to. Melania Trump is another one. Jackie O was another one. They're being bought off. And I mean, this is another form of prostitution. And it shows, Melania Trump, she was going to, I think, thinking about leaving Trump after the 2016 stuff. And no, renegotiate her prenup and she'll stick around. Excuse me? See, the whole thing, Trump says, oh, well, prenups, that's a horrible thing, but you have to have them. If assets were being divided in a lawful manner, then you wouldn't. This is, oh yeah, women, they say that they were being, claimed domestic violence because then they get more in the settlement. I was like, what are you people talking about? That has nothing to do with the financials. Either you get half of the assets. Now, if you want to sue him in civil court because he's damaged you or something like that, that's another matter. And if you go down that road, it should be because you have, serious healthcare problems that need to be paid for. Like with the Kennedy, one of the Kennedy, it wasn't a wife, but it was somebody that there was an accident. And, oh, no, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. Yeah, they never did. So anyway, so this, with the Mars family and the Mellon family, I use this example and I explain this to people. I was like, okay. And as I say, I explained this in the 8th presentation about Foxcroft, but I'll go through it real quick. So you get the robber baron families with the Mellons. It was first banking, and then I love it. Tim Mellon, he claims that he's a self-made millionaire. Yeah, with your trust funds and all of the stuff. And yeah, our aviation and our airplane and our airline industry, not so great. So I wouldn't be tooting your horn because that's a whole mess. So then, since this is all, exploitive and predatory commerce, in order to ease the conscience, they set up foundations and give money to the arts, humanities, and education so the masses can educate themselves and have opportunities to become rich and famous like them. Well, not everybody can be rich and famous. Isn't it good enough just to want a nice house, a nice family, a nice life? Does everybody have to be rich and famous? So they give the money there. Well, that's producing the woke illiberalism, because you got a bunch of crazy bohemian people living in Soho in New York who want to have it all. So they give money to the foundations, which creates the woke liberalism. So then they give money to the alt-right to compensate, to fight the woke liberalism that they're producing with their foundations. But then that just makes the woke liberals even more extreme. And so they throw more money at the politicians on the alt-right saying, fix it, fix it, fix it. Of course, nobody can just wave a magic wand and fix it. And so we end up with a fascist government and a military dictatorship in the end. And the Mars family, they're playing the same game. Their thing is, since it has to do with sugar, they're the motor behind the obesity. Well, if we weren't producing such unhealthy societies, then we would be able to cover health care for everybody and have a productive society where everybody is pulling their own weight. But not interested. And then my favorite is when I contacted them and I said, well, would you be interested? Because the platform, homemakers make 80% of consumer spending decisions. The platform, the social networking platform that I have for homemakers, for trophy wives, it will make a lot of money. These women spend money. That's why I came up with the idea. I was like, yeah, with the advertisers, we'll be able to make more than enough money then to pay everybody who works in the company, but then also for the other ideas that I had, which was in promoting artisan products and, culinary traditions of countries around the world and fair trade artisan products, and do my part in sustainable development goals. Sounds like a win-win, but no, not interested. Not interested. Okay, fine. Why not? Why? Because you want an obese society and you want people who are addicted to sugar, which then gets them into other more serious addictions as they progress through life? Okay, fine. Well, see you in court. Oh man, what the frick? Here's the Andrew Mellon Foundation here. All the people in their salaries. See? $3 million for the head of a philanthropic foundation that is the motor behind the woke illiberalism that gave rise to MAGA, and why Tim Mellon gave $75 million to Trump and $25 million to Bobby Kennedy. See how crazy these people are and schizophrenic. They are driving this country into debt and trashing the dollar. There's no defense. There's no defense. Yet they keep on saying how great they are and how they're, just vote me into office and we'll fix everything. So here we get Tony Lyons coming in there. So this I didn't really get into in the 8th presentation that I did. So this was RFK Jr.'s campaign, 2024 presidential campaign. Now, I was like, oh God, yes, because basically his platform was a return to JFK and RFK, his father. I was like, okay, and that's what got them shot. So that's what got them assassinated. But, I supported him. I was like, yeah. And his platform, I had some issues, as I say, with Jeffrey Sachs, with the SDGs. I was like, I keep on telling you guys, your SDGs and the international community is going to have the same income inequality and the same problems as trickle-down Reaganomics for the same reasons. The people holding the purse strings of spending and investment money are a bunch of psychopathic prima donnas and son of a bitches who just throw money around like there was no tomorrow. Like, how many times do you have to keep tripping over the same stone? So what I loved with this whole thing, Skyhorse Publishing. I've got a book. I've got more than one book that I could write. And I've been writing, with all of the blogs that I've written, everything that I've written, thousands and thousands of pages that are on the internet. I'm like, all I have to do is you put together a couple of books. Now, and I was like, the book that I'll write will You promote that, and that'll get Bobby Kennedy into the White House, guaranteed. Because I know what everybody is doing. Everybody was so surprised that Trump won in 2016. I was like, duh. I loved it. The night before the elections, I'm passing by the Women's Democratic Club in DuPont Circle, and I go in and rah, 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 we're going to win. I was like, don't be too sure. Ooh, they did not like me. Now, the next day I passed by, I said, told you so. Would you guys like to listen to me now? Oh, no. The receptionist said, oh, you should be on a panel discussion. But then when I spoke with Nucci Courier, the president, she found out who I was and what I'm doing, and she hung up on me. I was like, okay, fine, lady, I'll see you in court too. I mean, somebody please, we need a Nuremberg trial too. We need a huge, I thought Marjorie Taylor Greene with her whole thing about the nonprofits, the congressional hearing, I said, yeah, let's go for it. I got all of the evidence. I got all of the names. Just come on, pull them in. And you stick them up on a stand, you subpoena the records, and we're going to go to town. And we will drain the swamp. Not only Washington, but New York. See, this is the little cesspool. And RFK Jr., this is why he didn't win. And also why he was not being effective as HHS. I mean, that's part of the Trump administration, the fault. But it's all this little group. So we got Tony Lyons, Skyhorse Publishing. Alan Dershowitz over here. Ooh. Alan Dershowitz. Do not trust that man for 1 second. I got a lot more respect for Michael Cohen than I ever do for Alan Dershowitz. Michael Cohen, let's just say, I think he did some soul searching in prison. I think Alan Dershowitz needs to go and have some time to do some soul searching. So anyway, I loved it. So I said, oh, here, I got a book. Not interested. Like, why? Oh, it's on the Mommy Wars. Well, yeah, his wife, I think she's Finnish. So their daughter has autism. Now, I am not saying that it's not linked to maybe vaccinations or some environmental, chemicals and poisoning. I do think that plays a part in there, but also it is also this very unhealthy society that, is cult. And if you don't love crowds and love going to these huge, mobs with the music and all of these concerts, and you don't like crowds, you don't like being part of a cult, well, then you're autistic or Asperger's syndrome. Anybody who's different, who doesn't want to rah rah rah. Oh God, I saw Megyn Kelly with that. She's like, oh, see how intelligent these sorority ladies are? I'm like, no, I don't see it. Thank you very much. This, all of these mental health problems that we're having, this is a lot of it is coming from the gaslighting.
Hey, Psych2Goers, welcome back. Have you ever heard the term gaslighting before and wondered what it means? Simply put, it is abuse and a form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims are fed lies and false information under the guise of truth, which makes them question their sanity and beliefs. Over time, the manipulations become so complex that the victim can no longer identify what's real. Here are some common phrases an abusive person might use to control you. Number 1, you are so sensitive. If you hear this one, calmly disengage from the conversation and acknowledge that you are not too sensitive. An abusive person resorts to this line to make themselves not accountable for their actions. Additionally, this statement minimizes your feelings by making you think that your feelings are inappropriate or wrong, so you end up feeling guilty. Number 2, I was just joking. You have probably heard this phrase, especially when someone says something deliberately cruel. This is the classic backpedaling remark. Again, it's a way to remove accountability for their actions. It also serves to downplay your emotions and make you feel bad about calling out their behavior. They use this phrase to try to normalize cruel comments. Number 3, it's no big deal. This statement is another tactic manipulators often use to deny wrongdoing. Like the previous statement, this also tries to normalize cruelty and verbal violence by trivializing their abuse and minimizing your pain. It is also a blatant attempt to shrink responsibility on themselves and put it onto you, making you responsible for misunderstanding them. It's aimed at making you feel unseen and unimportant. Number 4, you're imagining things. This is another classic gaslighting phrase. It's perhaps the only phrase that comes directly from the film. The purpose is to discredit you and make you doubt your sanity. This is effective because it makes others side with your abuser and reinforces the statement. What makes it particularly nefarious is it's often sugar-coated with concern and worry. Your abuser may approach you and express concern while also dismissing your emotions. They may say, "I'm only telling you this because I'm worried about you," or something similar. When this is expressed as a concern, it makes it harder to see the manipulation. And number 5, I'm sorry that you think that I hurt you. A common tactic that an abuser might use is shifting blame. This statement is an apt example. The phrasing of this is clever because it makes you think the abuser is apologizing. In reality, they're placing the blame on you. They're also making you feel like you misinterpreted them or judged them unfairly, and like you are the cause of the bad behavior or bad relationship. As a result, your self-esteem suffers, making you more dependent on them. Abuse, verbal or otherwise, should never have a place in your relationship. If you see it or experience it, call it out. Let the other person know that it's not right. If you are struggling with abuse, please reach out to a licensed medical professional for help. Have you experienced gaslighting?
Licensed medical professional for help. Yeah, that's not always the best advice. I remember when this was at the IMF, it was the Institute for Capacity Development. They had the respectful workplace, mandatory respectful workplace workshop that was given by the Winters Group. And this was over a 2-year period. The first one that they did when we walked out, one of the economists, Luisa Zamborlin, she laughed and she said, "Was that to fill somebody's quota?" I mean, it was bullshit. And I was like, what the hell are these ladies? This is good, crazy. And also they didn't like me because I kept on raising my hand, because since I'm doing all of this research into domestic abuse and how it's been covered up, and all of it parallels the bullying. So she didn't really appreciate all of the questions and my input because I was more informed than she was. And the first presentation, so the second presentation, I was so horrified. I went to Elizabeth Lagrange, the domestic violence prevention coordinator of the IMF and the World Bank. And I said, "You better go over to Mark Plant," who's kind of her boss, who is the head of the IMF HR department. I said, "You better go and tell him what Sharmini Curry and these little ladies over at ICD are promoting." And Gina Paoni is in that. I said, "This is crazy. They are teaching, they are telling victims to do first exactly what they should not do, because playing into the hand of their bully, and you are reinforcing the bullying and the gaslighting of these crazy wacko bitches." I said, I'm sure Elizabeth Lagrange I never took it to Mark Plant. Mark Plant, he did get a letter from me, as did Kalpana Kochar. See them both in court. Now, Mark Plant, he's an American. You can't deport him. But Kalpana Kochar, oh my God, she is at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation now. See, this is not, oh, well, just let it go. No, these people have been infiltrating, workplaces, public and private sector workplaces for many, many decades, and they need to be gotten rid of. Like yesterday. I mean, I was furious when I was listening to this podcasters earlier about Bobby Kennedy's not being effective as head of HHS. I'm like, and I said this the other day. I said, if Bobby Kennedy, you let me into HHS, they're afraid of us. Now, we'll demonstrate in front of the White House, we'll demonstrate at Capitol Hill and stuff like that, and they'll like, yeah, okay, hi, we'll see you again next year, whatever. HHS, they're afraid of us. You let me and a bunch of other pissed off moms, you let us in there and start house cleaning. You hire me as your assistant, and I'll promise you, I'll have every person in that place running scared, because that gets into my dad as well, with my father's work and thrombosis. Huh. I would really have them running scared with that. But of course, nobody will give me a voice. So anyway, we keep on. This is from the 8th presentation. I won't go into all of that. Here's the Mars family. I mean, they promised, let's say, $1 billion. They promised to invest $1 billion in infrastructure or something, I don't know, around the world, that'll help fulfill the SDGs. I'm like, wait a second. How is promoting sugar consumption and obesity and all of the health problems that come with all of this sugar consumption? I'm not against the chocolate. Chocolate is actually very good. And why don't you guys do a really, really good chocolate? Get in competition with the Belgians. They do really good chocolate. And it's not Leonidas and Godiva, which is the best. I mean, produce instead of this crap and that it is just filled with sugar. I mean, you walk into the American supermarkets. I remember when I was living abroad, and even the Europeans would be like, oh my God, you guys, you got one full aisle that's nothing but soft drinks and chips and junk food and processed food, and then candy, another just candy up. Is it any wonder that, look, sugar consumption, obesity? Oh, and then I saw recently, I assume this is another billion that they're talking about. They're going to invest $1 billion in producing manufacturing jobs in the United States. Okay, well, as I said, again, they're green, not to atone for their sins, for the obesity that they're creating. They're producing organic food, pet food. I keep on telling Cornelia Guest with her vegan living. I mean, this is another, get rid of Cornelia Guest and her freaking vegan living and all of these social media influencers going green and going vegan. I mean, Cornelia, I keep on telling her, Cornelia, you should be worried about the 20-year prison sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell, because that's where I'm heading with you. And also, if animals in this country have more rights because of social media influencers like you promoting vegan living. If everybody became a vegan on this planet, we would destroy the ecosystem. And Hitler was vegan as well. Oh yeah, well, wasn't Wallis Simpson your godmother? And wasn't she cohorts with Hitler when after Britain would fall, that she would become Queen of England? So I guess we don't need to look very far, why Cornelia is where she is today. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before with the courageous conversation. This is why I got so pissed off with Foxcroft, and I was like, you know what? I have been posting all of the information on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Cornelia has been, promoting, throwing her minks away and promoting vegan living in this country. I've been cremated in labor markets, had my rights violated everywhere I live, everywhere I work. And, can't get a voice. And when I contact Foxcroft about the courageous conversation, say, not interested. I mean, I was fit to be tied. I was fit to be tied. I mean, as I say, if I was a 15, 24-year-old male, sure, this is where you end up with some pissed off kid who goes and some mass shooting. I mean, I loved it when Tucker Carlson, he was canceled. Here's the video.
I find, and I found, honestly, in my exchanges with the administration at St. George's, a total resistance to having anybody who they don't agree with, even in the same world. Like, I'm not on your campus right now because the campus that I went to and donated to and sent my 3 children to, because they wouldn't let me come. And why wouldn't they let me come? Well, of course, because they hate my politics. And my feeling was, well, that's wrong. First of all, I want to be there. I want to meet the kids. I want to see the kids. And I feel it could be good for everyone to have this happen. And I don't want a mandatory chapel where everyone has to come and hear me. I don't believe in that. I don't want to press my views on people who don't want to hear them. Let's just have an event where everyone who wants to come can come. And people who don't want to come don't have to come. I don't think you should, again, I don't think you should force your views on anyone. I don't believe in that, okay? I really don't believe in that. They did it to me at St. George's and I didn't like it. And I said so at the time. And so I tried to get a straight answer from the school, like, well, can I come or can I not? No one would answer. So I finally called the head's office. He wouldn't call me back for like over a week. So I called again, he finally called me back. And I said, can I come or not? I could not get a straight answer. And knowing, of course, it was political, but it was like hilarious, the lengths that they went to keep me from doing this. And so I said, but what is the problem? And ultimately, the headmaster, Mr. Wirtz, as he called himself to me, says, well, we're worried you would garnish national media attention. I was like, garnish? Like the parsley on your steak? What are you even talking about? I think you mean garner. I was like, do you really run, is this really the headmaster? Do you really run that school? Anyway, and I said, but if Oprah wanted to come, was more famous than I am, could she come? Whoa, that's a theoretical. Anyway, I can't get an answer. So then I get another call from a board member, and he's like, well, actually, the real problem is the students don't want you to come. They don't like you. They're embarrassed to tell you. They just don't want to see you. They think you're kind of embarrassing. They don't want you to come. And I was like, okay, you're not hurting my feelings, but this Henry kid seems smart. If he wants me to come, then I'll go sit in a basement room and I'll talk to Henry for an hour and I'll leave. No, you can't. Just wait another year. I was like, this is really crazy. And they're like, basically, they're like, the faculty hate you so much you're not allowed on campus. So then ultimately, 2 days ago, I get another call saying, we have a new reason you can't come. And the new reason is it's just not safe. And if you come on campus, people could be killed. And I'm like, what? On campus, people could be killed? Yeah, they'll be killed because people who like you are going to be violent and I guess kill the kids or something, or people who hate you are going to kill the kids. And I was like, this is too crazy. What if you have security, right? And they're like, well, our security aren't armed. I was like, your security aren't armed? What? I sent 3 kids there. If I knew you didn't have armed security, I wouldn't have sent my kids there. They're like, well, we have protocols. So I was like, you've got middle-aged guys with iPhones calling the cops? I'm a middle-aged guy calling cops on the iPhone. This is so nuts. I'm like, no, it's just too dangerous. So then I was like, look, I'm just sick of the lying. Henry seems like a nice kid. He asked me to come. You're not going to let me on campus because you hate my politics. Ultimately, I'm like, so you won't have, I said, I'll bring armed security. We'll protect everybody. No, we can't do that. We have a no guns policy. I was like, how are you protecting the kids with security guards with no guns? Well,
so this is, I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. Like, I would be concerned if I showed up at a prep school and I saw a bunch of armed guards at the prep school. I'd be like, do I want to send my children where they have to have armed guards to protect them? See, the thing is, all of the East Coast prep schools, you guys better start thinking about this issue, because the way that you're playing it, you're really getting people pissed off, and there will be eventually, I mean, we're headed towards a civil war, but tax. I mean, can you imagine at Foxcroft? I remember the security guys that we used to have that would drive around and stuff. They didn't have any. I'm like, can you imagine? And what's the solution? So you're going to start calling the National Guard to protect all of the prep schools up and down the East Coast? All of these schools better start thinking about this crap. Because the way that they're handling this, no, shut up. But Tucker Carlson, I've sent him several emails, haven't heard back. I'm like, okay, fine, Tucker Carlson. Well, see, also, now somebody, who was it? I forget, one podcaster was like, no, see, the thing is, Tucker Carlson, he is CIA. Now, his father was CIA. He is an industrialist heir from Swanson Fort and the TV dinners. But his wife, this is the typical thing. I'm like, wait a second, either we got the ball busting, having it all feminists in the workplace who are creating havoc, or we got the dumb blondes who sit around doing nothing. Her father was the headmaster of St. George's. Now, her father was questioned. He wasn't held to liable for it, but there was, like in all of these schools, all you have to do is go to the Wikipedia page. I think less, because I think kind of normal. In the girls' schools, we got more of a problem of bullying rather than sexual assault and harassment. I mean, that kind of is, 90%, I keep on pulling out this report, the UN in-depth study on all forms of violence against women clearly demonstrates 90% of physical and sexual violence is from men, whereas it's the women who maintain and perpetuate that violence, either through socialization of their children or pissing the men off, and so they lose it. So yeah, it's normal that in the girls' schools, you can see more of the bullying and more psychological abuse and aggression between the girls rather than, and this is what I keep on saying, making women as physically violent and sexual predators like the men is not progress. I'm sorry. I don't know how you think this is progress. So anyway, it's like, well, why is it that all of these men, all they want is some dumb bimbo blonde? I mean, even Megyn Kelly, sometimes she's good, but then her little vicious, viperous, backstabbing witchery comes out every time. So Kathy McGee, I'm going to see you in court. So anyway, this is how it started. There was a message, dear Foxcroft alumni, this summer many of you have been sharing your painful experiences with racism at Foxcroft. Your stories on this alumni forum and in our courageous conversations are powerful and are helping us have a more complete understanding of our school community and where we have failed to live fully up to our values and our promises. Recently, some of our young alumni and students have been sharing their voices. See more. Okay, and then there's this response that I like. This isn't even just about racism, though. This fight is about everyone who has been treated unfairly, whether that be because of race, sexuality, religion, etc. All you people see is a response. What I see as a recent alumni is HOS attempting to pacify. Well, see more. But her point being, this was about bullying, and you guys turn it into it was about something racial. I was wondering if the students might benefit from reading The White Fragility and participating in discussion groups on it. I mean, this is the type of gaslighting stuff. You know, did you read the other comments? So anyway, I'm deeply saddened as an alumni of Foxcroft to see the administration continue to handle such serious allegations with such regards for the students. So, you know, this is what precipitated the whole thing. We're going to have this courageous conversation, which, you know, white privilege are not welcome. Like, would you guys please stop saying that I represent white privilege from Foxcroft? Because my lordy lord. Yeah, I'm not poor white trash. That's my sister. You know, and believe me, that whole poor white trash, you can have no money and be much classier. This is what I keep on saying to everybody. That's what I said to the damn lawyers in Spain when I saw what they were doing. And they were, you know, colluding with my husband, and they were gonna, as he said, you're gonna be left with nothing, and you're gonna be thrown out on the street and have to prostitute yourself in order to survive. I think you're crazy with my education. I prostitute myself to survive. Well, I didn't realize the discrimination that I'd be, you know, he said, nobody cares about you. Now, I knew that, but I didn't know that labor markets would be so horrific. I mean, you know, the discrimination and the hate crimes and the illegal firings. I mean, every time I get fired illegally, I sit there and I'm like, I can't believe you're doing this. You do know that what you are doing is illegal, like super duper illegal. I know. And I am going to be pursuing this. Go ahead. See, everybody knows that they are untouchable. Corruption is so rampant, nobody's going to do anything about it. So anyway, they had a courageous conversation for the black girls to be able to whine and complain about how they are being discriminated against and how they are being targeted in hate crimes and boo-hoo, 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 and we want reparations. I keep on telling all these black people who want reparations, I'm like, wait a second, you guys, you're supporting the enslavement of homemakers and not recognizing their rights within the home and family. That's slavery. So any of the money that you're reclaiming to reparations, you can just pass it on over. And then some. Please, if you guys want to play that card, we'll play that card. I keep on explaining. I'm like, okay, you guys, you say that a woman, she is not, you know, she shouldn't get any of the money from her husband's paycheck because it was in his name and he's the one who worked for that paycheck, and she didn't work for that paycheck. I'm like, okay, fine, you want to play it that way. Okay, so now he has to pay her for what do they pay now for a surrogate mother to carry a baby? And then figure 10, 20,000, 30,000, I'm not sure. Let's find the market price for that. Okay, so he's going to have to pay her for each child she produced. Now, he's going to have to pay her. She's been working for how many years? 7 days a week? Okay, so then he has to pay her for that. Then he has to counseling. Okay. Okay, you guys, you want to play it that way? He's going to have to pay her so much more than if we just divide the assets like they should be. See, nobody has been fighting for women's rights within the home and marriage. And ask any victim of the courts, and they will tell you that the women judges and lawyers are the worst. Stay away from them, whatever you do. Real bitches. So anyway, here I Googled this. Love it. Sustainable Development Goals. And this gets Foxcroft approach to the SDGs. Okay, so they're going to have to defend themselves in court on all of this stuff. I'm not stopping. Just like Candace Owens, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, and I'm not giving up, and I'm not giving up. And you guys can keep on marginalizing me and marginalizing me and marginalizing me. I will continue. My mother, I remember my mom used to say, oh, you would never fail. She's saying, oh, you couldn't care if you came home with an A or a B, or even a D. No, the D's bothered me. No, I got a D. No, that pissed me off. But I was like, see, but whatever. As I say, you guys make it interesting. You make it worth my while. I'll blow your socks off. Well, you really made it worth my while. You went after my children. And you want to destroy me, you want to destroy my children. As I said when this whole thing started, Nicole King in Marbella, she was there, she was witness. Clemencia Yana, she was witness. I said, they fuck with me and I will fuck with them. And I told my lawyers that. And I did not think that we would be going down this road and this rabbit hole, but that's where we are. That's where we are. And I know everybody just thinks, oh, throw her to the wolves. And believe me, oh God, where I'm working, all you have to do, it's all posted on the internet. I keep on documenting all the crap that's going on every place that I work, and there's one little bitch. Oh God, I want to take that little girl and just throttle her by the throat. But I don't. Keep my cool. I'm like, oh, little girl. She just turned 21. You're going to be sitting in prison until you're about my age. I was born here. She's a Latina. There's nothing you can do. I was born here. It's just like that smirk on his face, like Jeffrey Epstein. People are no different. Little smirk, slap it off her face. She's gonna be smirking when she gets when she's sitting in a courtroom. She's not gonna find this so funny. So here we get, how many? We keep on seeing all of these teens dying of suicide, overdose. No, we're good. We're good. Everything's good in the country. Again, we got Cornelia here. Cornelia Guest, Deb of the Decade. I have told her and told her and told her, want to play hardball? We play hardball. The Kennedys, same can of worms. I have shown my good faith at every turn, and all I get is bad faith. Jen Shaw, real piece of work. When the paparazzi start following her and going, excuse me, like Ghislaine Maxwell, she is not gonna be so smug and so happy. She should be ashamed of herself. Her father was the author of the Missing Child Act, which gave rise to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is trafficking children in collusion with Child Protection Services. But Jen, she doesn't want to know about any of that unpleasantness. She's too busy cashing it in. she just retired. I'm like, we'll retire you to a prison cell. I mean, really, Jen disgusts me. Absolutely disgusts me. Here was somebody that I forgot to mention in my 8th presentation. This is Lee Topping Brady. She's the daughter-in-law of Secretary of Treasury Nicholas Brady. He was the author of the Brady Bonds. Well, just ask anybody over at the IMF and the World Bank the results of the Brady Bonds and the over-indebtedness that started in South America. Not a positive, and you know, Lee, I loved it. Okay. She graduated cum laude from Foxcroft and Phi Beta from Emory University. She was with the Atlantic Office of Bankers Trust and Company, a financial analyst. See, straight A, straight A. I remember Lee was a roommate of mine my first semester at Foxcroft. Yeah, we don't see eye to eye on that. But yeah, straight A student, straight A student. Yeah, but your typical bimbo Stepford wife. I mean, these straight A students, what? To become some Stepford wife? Real housewife of, what is it, of Atlanta? I mean, believe me, when these are other notable alumni. So that's pretty much the end. But I mean, I was fit to be tied when I saw the email come in. In fact, it was really funny because it was just before I was talking to my siblings. I told my sister, I said, oh God, you got to check out the email and the video of the new headmistress. She's in for a big surprise when she gets an email from me. It is what it is. Everybody keeps on telling me it is what it is. I keep on telling everybody in Washington, I'm like, you know what? Back in the 70s and 80s, we had another expression, eat shit and die. If anybody wanted to mess with you. See, there was some, residual left over from the civil rights movement of the 60s. So there was more sense of rights. I mean, so a lot of the crap that people are pulling with me, and I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid back then, and I mean, I'm a grown woman who's hauling everybody's ass to the international courts, and I tell these people, I'm like, don't mess with me. I'm gonna see your ass in court. I'm good. It is what it is. It is what it is. As my mom would say, Anina, and it's this gaslighting of like, we know we're all this big protection racket, and screw you. They know they can get away with it, and it is pissing people off. This is why we have the violence in the street. This is why we have so much criminality. That Trump is going to send the National Guard to clean up. You really want to clean it up, you give me a voice, we get a congressional hearing, or, I don't care if this goes through Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or Janine Pirro over at DC courts. I think it's more probably, we probably need both, actually. Clean it up. Clean it up, clean it up, clean it up. I mean, God, one woman said to me, oh, it's difficult. I said, no, it's not. I mean, I am so sick and tired. Oh, it's complicated. No, it's real simple. It's real simple. It's all in black and white. I've documented, we got everybody under RICO, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, the Enemy Alien Act, And God, for the life of me, I gotta, because I was falling asleep listening to Megyn Kelly the other night, and she was pulling out something. I was like, oh, we gotta use that one. We gotta use that one. I'll find it. I was like, what time I finish with every single person in this? I have been saying for years, just build a prison between the Senate side and the House side and stick everybody in prison for the night. And then the convention center that they've that huge convention center with the huge ballroom downtown near Judiciary Square. We can have that as a holding pen. The cattle drive. That's where we are. Everybody has wanted to play hardball. Everybody has, I mean, let's see, we're at 37. This, I did want to, oh, I didn't even pull this one up. This is where it's all posted. Labor rights violations in a swamp, which gets murkier by the minute. Here is my case against DC employers. Oh, my favorite is Morgan and Morgan. That is in here, my conversation with Morgan and Morgan. Bobby Kennedy's partners. And it was, I got fired from a job for supporting Bobby Kennedy. But even his partners wouldn't help me. They said, you got no case. I loved it. He said, well, just because I said that, I said, oh, don't you worry. I got the poor girl couldn't even get it out of her mouth before I said, oh, don't you worry. And I'll be coming after you, Morgan and Morgan. Why do I have no case? You have just become complicit to all of the problems. This is what these guys are not catching on. Oh, and my favorite, one of my favorites is, where is that? I just passed it up. Phone call with Russell Brand, his team. That's Russell Brand from the UK. The Me Too people are really going after him. I said, have your lawyer talk to me. I'll stick me up on a stand, and all of those little ladies are going to run scared. Just ignore me. Oh, I don't have a PhD, and I don't have an ESQ, and I've been canceled, so I don't know anything. So anyway, you got the timeline of the case there, and then my complaint against the IMF. But what I wanted to see, what was public debt, government, in 2008, because we just passed the 37 trillion. Oh, we were at a mere 10 trillion. See? Just keep on. So anyway, that's where we are, and that'll be the end of it this evening.